Well, thanks for coming back and joining us, everybody, here with another interview. Today, I'm joined by Gavin Earnshaw, who is the Director of Compliance for the network that we are part of. And we're going to be talking about the regulator today. But Gavin, why don't you just tell our followers a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Hi, James. Yes. Hello, everybody. My name's Gavin Earnshaw, and I'm the Director of Compliance at the Network HL Partnership. A bit about myself. I'm a family man, getting used to spending more time with the family over the last couple of months, for better or for worse, whatever that might be. I'm very fortunate. My kids are grown up, so I've got a 22-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Right.
Obviously, we're just re-establishing relationships really with the family, so this period has been really great for that. So for example, where they would normally be out and about with their friends or in the bedroom or whatever, playing our games, we've been gaming together, a bit of Super Mario Party and things like that. So things have been going great. So I'm not too far from you. I'm down the road in Derby.
You are, yeah.
So that's where I operate from. My role as Compliance Director is really managing and looking after and providing support to all of our member firms. So My Simple Mortgages is a member of the HL Partnership Network, which we can speak a bit more about that a bit later on. But we have a number of firms across the country who we provide support services to. So my role is to provide those services, particularly focusing on the compliance side of things. And what compliance means really is ensuring that the policies, systems, procedures that your advisors operate to, that they are doing it to the best of their ability.
I was going to ask that question. We talk about compliance all the time, you and I and people within our industry, but the point of this really is to try and explain and expand a little bit about what compliance actually means to a customer. And one of the questions I want to put to you is, we have in this industry a regulator, a body called the FCA. Yeah. Who are the FCA? What is the regulator? What are they there for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever I get asked what compliance is, what my job is, it's a really difficult question to answer. Quite often it takes a long time, and people have usually glazed over and walked off by the time we get to the end of the response. So
I'll try that now.
I'll try and make it as informative and entertaining as possible, in as few words as possible. So the mortgage and insurance and investment markets are regulated, and they're regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority, or the FCA as we know them. The FCA's remit really is to set the rules around which the products and the people that arrange the products operate under. So there's three key things really the FCA are responsible for. It's to ensure that products that are available to customers are safe and represent good value. So those products could be investment products, they could be insurance products, they could be pensions, or they could be mortgage products. So that's the first part of the remit, is to make sure those products represent good value for money, and that when customers buy those products, they're buying them in a safe fashion. The second aspect is the people that are arranging those products for customers, the advisors, and the FCA are there to ensure that advisors are competent in terms of the role that they perform. Yeah. So when they're giving advice to customers, they are doing it, with the best of intentions. And the third part of what the FCA do is they create the rules and the framework and the controls in which those advisors operate. And first and foremost, as part of those systems and controls, it's ensuring that customers are treated fairly. Yeah. So we talk a lot about treating customers fairly, ensuring that customers get great outcomes when they're arranging the products. So that's the FCA's remit really. Yeah. Products, ensuring competent advisors, and ensuring that firms that operate in this market have all the right controls in place.
Because I hold a license called CMAP, a Certificate in Mortgage Advice and Practice. The advisors that work here at the My Simple Mortgage all hold that same license. And that's, I guess, one way that the regulator says you must attain this level of knowledge and experience to be able to give somebody the advice that they need on, because a mortgage is a massive thing actually. When you think about the number of zeros on that loan, you don't get a credit card or an unsecured personal loan or car finance. The biggest we've done in recent months, it was £1.8 million. Yes. That needs protecting. If you're going to borrow that much money, you want to know that the people behind it and putting that in place know what they're doing. And I guess FCA have helped build a framework around making sure that we know what we're doing. And you help us stick to that.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what the FCA are there for. So the financial products that customers are buying are generally going to be expensive in some way, whether it's an investment, a pension, a mortgage, or an insurance product. So these are not a small scale transaction. These are not small scale transactions. They're large amounts of money that people are spending, or big loans they're taking out, or significant investments they're making. So that's why you need a framework of rules to make sure that you don't get ripped off, really.
Yeah, and it's also, for me, I guess it's acknowledging what's at risk. If a mortgage goes wrong and you fall behind on it, the place you live in is at risk. So you've got to make sure that when you take out the mortgage, you understand what you're getting into. So just moving on, that takes me nicely onto my second question. Regulation and compliance in the FCA, is it really there for the customer, or is it just to stop me and my firm getting sued when it all goes wrong? Who is regulation built for?
Well, primarily it is there for the benefit of the consumer, so the customer, the person in your world who's taking on a mortgage or an insurance product. So primarily, yes, the answer to that question is it's for the benefit of customers. But the practice of ensuring that happens is a fine balancing act, really. As I mentioned, having the systems and the controls and the right people who are competent to do the job and to do it in a professional way, and to look after customers and treat customers fairly, as I've mentioned, that all costs money. Having those frameworks in place, having the right people, there's a cost element to that. And it's really, this is where the balancing act is really, is having the right systems and controls in place to look after the customers, as the FCA require us to do, but to do it in as efficient a way as possible, so that ultimately the customer isn't having to pay for those controls. So where the framework is over-engineered at a great cost, then that cost would eventually ultimately be passed on to the consumer, and therefore it's not going to represent good value for the customer. So it's getting the right balance, really, and that's the juggling act you and I undertake on a daily basis.
And I it might sound nerdy, but I enjoy compliance. It gives me a sense of safety because I know that my team have done a good job. But I can sleep at night because we act well within the boundaries of what the FCA sets at night, and we know that our customers have been well looked after, because it's morally and ethically the right thing to do. It's almost a shame that we have to have compliance, I think, in this day and age. Surely we should all be doing the right thing anyway. But it certainly gives me that peace of mind that my customers are safe and protected from the transactions that we assist them with. Last question for you then, Gavin. For someone who deals with lots of firms and compliance and regulation, for our customers or anybody who's watching this now, when they're looking for a financial advice, whether it be pension, insurance, or in our case, mortgage advice, what should they be looking for in a mortgage advice firm that gives them reassurance that they're dealing with a reputable and decent firm? How can they just get an idea of what they're dealing with?
Yeah, it's a great question, that is. And as a consumer, it's not always easy to find out the information you need to understand whether the firm that they want to engage with is operating within the rules with the FCA. So there's a number of things they can do. First of all, just to explain a little bit about the network. So, we touched upon this earlier. So My Simple Mortgages is part of a network, so there are other firms within that network that operate in a similar way to you. The HL Partnership is the host of that network, so I oversee both My Simple Mortgages and other firms that operate within our network. So generally speaking, if you are dealing with a firm that's part of a reputable network, a customer, if they can see that they're part of a network, will generally get some comfort from that, because they know that the network, like HL Partnership does, will provide the controls and the training and the development for your advisors to ensure that they do their job to the best of their ability. So being part of a network is great. Some firms are directly authorised by the FCA, so they don't have the support framework of a network. So directly authorised firms, operate, with the FCA, but without those sort of control frameworks. So I'm not saying that necessarily directly authorised firm isn't going to give a good service, but there's extra reassurance from the network.
You act almost like a backstop to us as well. So we have our own regime and our own controls and processes, but then there's you, and then there's the regulator for us as well. So we have that
exactly.
extra layer.
And we are independent of your business, as you know, James. So so our role is to check the work that you and your advisors do, so which we do on a regular basis. So we look at the records and make sure that the advice that you've given and the products you've arranged for our customers are suitable and appropriate. We also provide the framework for the training and the development for your team. The mortgage market changes almost daily, especially at the moment. So we put the framework in place, the training and development programs in place to help you with that. So that's one area where the customers can get comfort. The other area really is to utilise the resources that are available from the FCA. So the FCA have a register. It's called the Financial Services Register, which is openly available on the internet. So customers can go to the FCA website, the Financial Conduct Authority website, and search for the FS Register. And when they've gone onto that, they can then check that the firm they're about to engage with is registered on there. If they can't find the firm, then obviously the firm hasn't got the correct permissions to operate, and they should be very worried about that. So the FS Register is something they should be looking at. Later on this year, as is planned at the moment, it may be deferred into next year because of everything that's going on at the moment. But the FCA are going to be building, or are in the process of building, a directory, a financial conduct services directory. And that directory that is being built at the moment and will be launched in December of this year will host details of all mortgage advisors and insurance advisors in the marketplace. So that's a piece of software that's not available at the moment. So whilst customers can find your firm on the FS Register, they wouldn't be able to find the details of your advisors on that register. So this directory that is launched in December this year will actually show the details of your advisors. It will show what qualifications they've got, the CMAP that you mentioned earlier. It will show what type of service they will provide, and it will show all their credentials, and it will even show any details if they've been suspended or had any sort of issues with the FCA in the past. So the directory is something that is going to be launched later this year, and I would urge all of your customers as well to have a look at that.
Gavin, that's really, really helpful. And like I say, the point of this is that I want, it's important for us as a company and you guys as a network that our customers trust what we do. Because you have to have faith in the system, and the system only works if we all agree to adhere to a certain set of rules, and we abide by that. So, Gavin, I want to thank you for all the support that you've given us as a company and our clients as a result of that. And we will continue to do our part to keep our customers safe, as I know you will. But as part of keeping safe, I hope you keep safe during the rest of this crisis. Hope your family stays well. Keep washing your hands, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thanks a lot, Gavin.
Thanks, James. Take care.